Aliens raised the threat level after discovering the true meaning of Hold My Beer. Galactic Year 4721, Recorded Incident Report #784A27, Designation, Beer Summit. Location, Tau 16 Research Station, orbiting Lintar V. Lead Investigator, Security Officer Max Quantum. Report Classification, Red Level Threat Update. Tau 16 was a quiet, orderly station at the edge of Xenospace, a place where nothing particularly interesting ever happened. That is, until Earth joined the Galactic Union. At first, humans were seen as a charming curiosity. Odd, yes, prone to strange sayings and even stranger customs, but certainly nothing to warrant a security briefing. That changed on a single, unforgettable day. Day of incident, 0800 Galactic Standard Time. Lead Security Officer Max Quantum adjusted his uniform, sipping a cup of Cincy AF and scanning the morning reports when the words "Human Engineer" and "Potential Catastrophic Incident" flashed across his screen. He sighed. Since humans had joined the Galactic Union, they'd somehow managed to pop up in every other security log. Chan again, he muttered, recognizing the name. Engineer Amanda Chen had built a reputation on Tau 16 for two things: solving impossible engineering problems and bending the laws of physics with a casual disregard that unnerved the station's science officers. And now, it seemed, she was up to something unusual in Bay 4. "All right, let's see what kind of chaos you've cooked up today, Chun," he said, grabbing his datapad and heading down the sterile, metallic hallways of Tau 16. Bay 4, Zero-Gravity Testing Chamber. As Max approached the testing chamber, he noticed several alien scientists hovering anxiously outside. Their skin colors varied from deep mauve to pale blue, eyes blinking nervously in rhythmic patterns. Inside the chamber, he could make out Chen's figure tinkering with a device, a bizarre contraption of wires, tubes, and what looked like an old Earth beer can strapped to an antimatter core. Dr. Lritak, a Lintarian biologist known for her calm demeanor, gestured Max over urgently. "Officer Quantum, you must stop her. She keeps saying something about seeing if this works and hold my beer. We're not quite sure what it means, but it sounds dangerous." Max nodded. "Yeah, that's Chun all right." As he entered the chamber, he heard Chen's voice, clear and determined, followed by a low chuckle. "All right, everyone stand back. I'm gonna try something." "Chun," Max called, striding toward her. "What exactly is this experiment of yours?" She glanced over her shoulder, flashing him a grin. "Oh, hey Max, so, I figured out a way to reroute the station's plasma coolant through an old beer can to create a temporary containment field for antimatter. Just need to see if it can handle the pressure." She paused, holding up the beer can like a trophy. "It's a classic Earth hack." Max's eyes widened. "Wait, did you say antimatter? With a beer can?" "Chun, this station has thousands of people aboard." Chen just shrugged. "Relax. It's perfectly safe, probably." She turned back to her setup. "Besides, haven't you ever heard of Hold My Beer?" Max rubbed his temples. He'd read about this phrase in the human cultural notes, "hold my beer," an expression typically used before a human performs a dangerous or ill-advised feat, often with a high risk of bodily harm or property damage. "Chun," he said slowly, "this is exactly the kind of thing that phrase warns against." "Yeah, well," she said, smirking, "that's why I love it." She took a deep breath and looked back at her assembled alien colleagues, most of whom were watching her with expressions ranging from horror to fascination. "Now, let's see what this baby can do." Before Max could stop her, Chen flipped the switch. Initial impact, the Beer Summit incident. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, with a humming sound that grew louder and louder, the device began to glow. A strange, bluish field shimmered around the beer can, pulsing with energy. The containment field seemed to hold, until it didn't. A small, controlled explosion shook the room as a burst of plasma shot out in all directions. Thankfully, Chen had set up emergency barriers just in case. Still, the incident wasn't without its effects. The nearby alien scientists ducked, their eyes wide, while Max shielded his face. When the plasma dissipated, he saw that the beer can was intact but glowing, as if infused with the strange energy of the containment field. Chen was laughing, clearly thrilled. "Well, that was unexpected," she said, wiping her face. Max stared at her. "Unexpected? Chun, you almost caused a breach. Do you have any idea what would have happened if that containment field had failed?" She just shrugged, as if near disasters were a daily part of her job. "But it didn't fail. Besides, Now we know beer cans make for surprisingly effective containment vessels. I call that a win. Aftermath, the Union's reaction. Word of the incident spread like wildfire. Within days, whispers of the Beer Summit incident had reached every corner of the Galactic Union. Alien scientists scrambled to understand how humans could be so casual about life-threatening risks. Diplomatic officials from various planets demanded explanations, pressing humanity's representative, Jack Rodriguez, for answers. "We need clarification," one Sarnathian ambassador insisted, frantically gesturing with its tentacle appendages. "Is it true that humans routinely perform dangerous acts just to prove they can?" Rodriguez sighed, casting a look at Max and Chen, who had been summoned to the diplomatic meeting. Yes, I suppose that's accurate." The ambassadors looked at each other, horrified. The Sarnathian representative leaned in close. "We must raise your species' threat level," it said solemnly. "If hold my beer is a common human expression, we can't afford to overlook the implications. The galaxy must be warned." Chen just chuckled, nudging Max. "Guess they finally get it. Sometimes, you've gotta take a risk to make progress." Max groaned, but even he couldn't deny it. Humans had left a mark. The Galactic Union's reaction. Galactic Union Central Command Diplomatic Assembly Chamber. The Diplomatic Assembly was in chaos. Representatives from the galaxy's most advanced species gathered, frantically debating the recent Beer Summit incident involving engineer Amanda Chen and her infamous containment field experiment. Holographic monitors replayed the explosive moment, showing Chen's gleeful expression as she casually tinkered with antimatter, unaware or unconcerned that she had just given every species in the Union a reason to re-evaluate humanity's presence in the galaxy. Ambassador Jack Rodriguez stood at the center, calm but visibly exasperated, waiting for the diplomat's frenzy to subside. At his side, Max Quantum and Amanda Chen exchanged glances. Chen looked amused, while Max appeared ready to throttle her. The assembly's lead moderator, an elderly Varkesh with silvery scales and wide, suspicious eyes, finally called for order. She glanced at Rodriguez with open bewilderment. "Moderator Klaya, Ambassador Rodriguez, we understand Earth's contributions to science and exploration, but are we to believe that humans routinely undertake dangerous tasks without fully considering the risks?" Rodriguez sighed. "It's a bit more complicated than that. Humans have a phrase, 'hold my beer.' It's used, often humorously, before a person takes on a challenge to prove their ability, even if it's risky." A Sarnathian diplomat with shimmering green skin and bulbous eyes leaned forward, horrified. "So this is common? You engage in high-risk behavior as a social habit?" Rodriguez could see Chen grinning out of the corner of his eye. "Yes, and no. Humans value courage, adaptability, and yes, sometimes we take risks to push boundaries, but we do have a strong sense of survival, mostly." Max, under his breath, "Maybe you do." Klaya's scales darkened, a clear sign of Varkesh discomfort. "Ambassador, are you aware of the measures other species go to for safety? The Raelians have 12 layers of security just to turn on their plasma reactors." Amanda Chen, unable to hold back. 12 layers? Sounds like overkill. One quick containment field's enough if you know what you're doing. A ripple of nervous murmurs went through the crowd. Ambassador Rodriguez shot Chen a warning glance, but it was too late. The assembly was already fixated on the human's apparent disregard for danger. An Olorian diplomat, if this phrase, "hold my beer," signals such unpredictable behavior, then we must implement new protocols. Human interactions may need specific restrictions. This is a threat to galactic order. Rodriguez groaned. This was exactly what he'd hoped to avoid. But now, fueled by Chen's antics and the diplomatic fallout, they were about to make humans the first species in Union history to require their own category of threat protocols. New protocols for humanity. Within days, a fresh set of policies emerged across the Union, ominously labeled human interaction and risk management. The guidelines were extensive, from enforced observation during scientific experiments to restrictions on sharing human technology involving words like modded or jerry-rigged. Every ambassador was required to attend a course titled Earth Expressions and Warning Signs, aimed at educating them on phrases like "hold my beer and it'll be fine." Meanwhile, Amanda Chen continued to break records in the Tau 16 research station's experiment logs, often with Max Quantum right behind her, trying to minimize damage and explaining to horrified onlookers that, yes, she always works like this. A Sarnathian security officer posted outside Chen's lab one day witnessed a bizarre exchange. Chen, this plasma core just needs a quick override to boost the energy output. I'm doing this the fast way. Max, you know that's not Sci-Fi, but don't use that phrase. Chen, what phrase? Max, you know, the beer one. The officer, overhearing this, scribbled in his report, recommendation for additional security protocols, suspected disregard for safety noted. Hold my beer incident likely. Back in the assembly chamber. News of the humans' ongoing experimental projects and casual disregard for danger only increased galactic anxiety. Ambassadors from the Galactic Union gathered once again, this time to consider escalating humanity's threat level. The Nolorian diplomat from before spoke up, her voice quivering slightly. It seems we underestimated the impact of human presence on our systems. Just this month, reports from Tau 16 research station show an increase in near-catastrophic events related to this phrase, hold my beer. Rodriguez sighed but decided to embrace the absurdity. Look, he said, attempting to clarify. Humans have a unique way of tackling problems. We adapt. Sometimes, that means taking risks others wouldn't, but it's often led to remarkable breakthroughs. A holographic slideshow popped up, displaying examples of famous human achievements that started with risky moves, space exploration, nuclear fusion, and, of course, the beer summit incident. The alien diplomats stared at the slideshow with expressions ranging from shock to curiosity. Playa cleared her throat. We understand your position, Ambassador Rodriguez, but to the Union, your species represents unpredictability. We must prepare the galaxy for what that means. Conclusion of Part 2. After intense debate, the Union officially elevated humanity's threat status to Variable Risk Level XA, new category created solely for the potential of human ingenuity meeting recklessness. Diplomatic training programs now included modules titled Understanding Earth, Idioms for Galactic Peace and Managing Human Risk Interactions in Scientific Facilities. As the meeting wrapped up, Rodriguez, Chun, and Max walked out together, bemused. Rodriguez, so, they really raised our threat level just for being, well, us. Chen, smirking, guess we're unforgettable. Max, yeah, well, next time you have one of your ideas, leave the beer can out of it. Chen winked, no promises. As they walked away, Rodriguez wondered how long it would be until humanity's next great incident. He didn't know whether to laugh or prepare for yet another galactic briefing. Humanity's enduring mystery. Galactic Year 4722 Diplomatic Assembly. Union Central Command. Alien officials in the Galactic Union had tried everything to understand humans, mandatory courses, countless risk protocols, and even entire diplomatic departments devoted to Earth-related unpredictability. And yet, humanity remained a mystery that defied classification. The Union reluctantly accepted that humans possessed a unique blend of audacity, curiosity, and adaptability that was impossible to measure. The most recent incident had only made things worse. At the infamous Beer Summit 2.0, engineer Amanda Chen had attempted to boost the station's dark matter shield by temporarily adjusting the reactor's stability settings. Despite 3 official reprimands, Chen had insisted that the modifications were totally safe right before she triggered a brief power outage across 3 sectors. No one was harmed, but the shock was enough to make several alien officials seriously consider early retirement. Galactic Union Training Course, Module 1, Understanding Humanity. In a desperate attempt to prepare Union members for human interactions, a new module was added to alien training courses. Instructors from various species presented slides on famous human phrases, like "what could go wrong" and "hold my beer." But as the trainees watched, it became apparent that no amount of study could capture the true essence of human unpredictability. In one segment, Max Quantum, still the lead security officer at Tau 16, appeared on video. Max Quantum, when dealing with humans, always expect the unexpected. If you see one tinkering with something labeled "do not touch," assume they're about to touch it. Humans are explorers by nature. To them, every problem is just a new challenge, something to be solved, even if that solution bends the rules. An instructor paused the video to explain further. This instinct is what we have come to classify as Earth syndrome. It's a behavior type known for high-risk problem solving and a tendency to use common objects such as beer cans and coffee mugs for unintended scientific applications. A surprise visit from the Galactic Union Council. One of the highest-ranking Union Council members, a formidable Dracarian named Silra, had become deeply concerned about humanity's growing influence in the galaxy. Determined to see if humanity's threat level was truly warranted, she decided to visit Tau 16 research station personally. When Silra arrived, the entire station held its breath. The Dracarians were known for their strict adherence to order and logic, and Silra herself had a reputation for being particularly stern. As she entered the lab, Chen was working on yet another experiment, an attempt to create a zero-gravity coffee brewer by repurposing components from a plasma engine. Silra observed Chen's setup, eyes narrowing. "Engineer Chen, are you aware that this facility houses weapons-grade antimatter containment fields? Your actions could endanger the entire station." Chen, calmly, holding her coffee mug, "Look, it's all about managing the variables. Besides, I've tested this configuration. In theory, it's completely safe." Silra, dryly, "In theory?" Chen shrugged. "Well, if anything goes wrong, I'll be the first to say hold my beer and handle it." She grinned. The other scientists in the lab cringed, but to their surprise, Silra let out a low, thoughtful hum. Perhaps, Silra mused, there is some merit in this audacious approach. She turned to Chen with a glint in her eye. "Proceed, Engineer Chen, I wish to observe." For the next few minutes, the station held its collective breath as Chen worked. To everyone's surprise, including Silra's, the experiment succeeded. The coffee brewed flawlessly, defying both physics and common sense. As Silra tasted the coffee, she looked at Chen with an expression that could almost be considered admiration. "Remarkable. You humans may be reckless, but there is genius in your madness." Galactic Union Council, final decision on humanity's status. After her visit, Silra returned to the council chamber, ready to advocate for humanity's inclusion in a new category. Her report was a mix of respect and disbelief. "Silra, humanity may operate outside of conventional logic, but they bring innovation and courage that could benefit the galaxy. They require containment not for their safety, but for ours. We recommend a classification, controlled anomaly." The Union agreed, officially designating humans as a controlled anomaly, a category unique to them. It allowed for the freedom to explore and innovate, while stationing a dedicated human observation division at all human installations to prevent excesses. Epilogue: Humanity's Legacy in the Stars. Word of the controlled anomaly designation spread across the galaxy, and for the first time, aliens began to view humanity with a mix of fear and admiration. Humans had become something of a legend, the species that embraced risk, defied logic, and made impossible things happen. They were no longer seen as simply strange. They were seen as an asset to the galaxy, a force of innovation tempered by the need for caution. Back on Tau 16, Amanda Chen became somewhat of a celebrity. Alien scientists from across the galaxy came to study her methods, from a safe distance, and every so often, she would hear whispers of admiration from the trainees in her observation bay. "That's Amanda Chen, the human who invented the zero-gravity coffee brewer with a plasma engine." Years later, a new galactic saying emerged: "When in doubt, hold my beer." It became a phrase of inspiration, a reminder that sometimes, you had to be a little reckless to make the impossible a reality. Humanity's legacy, forged in the fires of trial and error, would echo across the stars.